Today on Monkey Life. Overweight and rotting teeth. It's bad news for the stumpies.
The infection was extremely bad and it would have caused her a serious infection in her body.
Newest Bachelor Boy Ben sets his sights high.
I think he's got ambition. One day we might see him ruling the roost in here.
And ring-tailed lemur Kaiyah gets her first taste of life in the trees. Monkey World is based in the English county of Dorset. It's home to more than 240 monkeys and apes and is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. Dr. Alison Cronin and her team rescue and rehabilitate primates from all over the world.
The sun is still beating down. He must be in the shade. Please, put him in the shade.
The 9 stump-tailed macaques that were recently retired from a medical research facility in Scotland are settling in well. But as with all new arrivals, they need a thorough health check.
This is all the notes that Alison gleaned.
So, at the park's hospital, wildlife vet John Lewis is preparing for a long day in theatre.
Looking through the notes from all of them, the pattern of injuries, the pattern of disease, the pattern of dental problems, etc., and orthopaedic issues, this is just very typical of highly captive primates.
How do you want to do the anaesthetic?
We could try to hand inject before we go into the box, and then even if I have to net them, then we can hand inject them then.
Yeah.
Then the last thing in the world you want to do is excite them.
Yeah.
John is being assisted by the park's vet, Mike Nathan, and animal director, Jeremy Keeling.
They all have, or they seem to have, a range of problems ranging from, dental issues to skin problems and so on. But we really have no detailed information on them. So we want to start from number 1, work our way through, resolve any major issues there are, and get baseline information on each of them so that we know, where we stand.
The stumpies are going to be examined one at a time. First out is 20-year-old Rachel. At the lab facility in Edinburgh, these ugly monkeys, as they're affectionately known, were used for reproductive research. The team take blood samples and then carry out tests to check Rachel's heart and lung functions.
It's a grade 3 systolic murmur.
John discovers Rachel has a significant heart murmur. They'll need to monitor this. As primates, they often suffer similar illnesses and health issues to humans.
We're just going to try and take a whole body X-ray.
The X-rays will give John a more accurate picture of any potential problems.
Get a general view of as much as we can that X-rays will show you. A chest, a heart. She has a heart murmur. We want to see the size of the heart, lungs, whatever we can have a look at, really.
It doesn't take long to process the images.
She has spinal arthritis. These sort of bone spurs between vertebrae there. It's extra bone, and it will eventually fuse the various vertebrae together. It's very common in primates, and again, they're not being asked in many captive circumstances to do as much exercise as they would in the wild. It does seem to be related to exercise, or lack of it.
So Rachel has cage paralysis, which can happen when animals don't have enough space to move around. This can lead to them having deformed spines. Rachel's teeth don't look good either.
Is there one tooth to come out, Mike, or just... OK.
She needs to have an extraction,
This shattered root is doing its best to come out.
which doesn't take long as the tooth is rotten.
OK, dentistry is finished as far as I'm concerned. Let's give her a long-acting antibiotic.
While she's under anaesthetic, Jeremy takes the opportunity to weigh her.
15.5. 16.5.
Over 16 kilos is heavy for a stumpy. A female would normally weigh around 8.5.
A lot of that weight needs coming off. That's unhealthy. They are obese. These are fat, sedentary animals.
So Rachel's well and truly failed her MOT. It's the start of a very long day for John and the team. Over at the lemur enclosure, extra staff have been called in to keep an eye on the youngest member of the group. Kaiyah was rehomed last year from Northern Ireland when her owners realised they could no longer look after her. Until now, she's been kept in a smaller outside area so that the primate care staff can control her introductions to the rest of the group.
Just going to let Kaiyah out the first time into the enclosure and see how she goes, really. We're just going to open the door, let her come out with everyone else so that she's not coming out on her own, and hopefully she'll just follow their lead, really. She's sort of full of energy, so I imagine she'll soon be off exploring.
The lemur enclosure is different to others at the park because visitors can walk through it as long as they stick to the path. This has never been a problem because the group are not interested in people. However, Kaiyah is young and athletic and used to human interaction, so the staff have had to take extra precautions.
Past couple of days, we've sort of been in and checked all the tree line and cut the trees back as well, just to make sure that there's no sort of potential escape route for her. To start with, we'll have people around, we'll have sort of staff with nets around the outside of the enclosure just in case as well, and also to act as a deterrent, and then also we'll have people in here as well just to keep an eye on her and make sure that she's doing what she's supposed to.
Alison has come along to see Kaiyah take her first steps into the trees. A quick look round, and Kaiyah is off. Everyone is watching her. Female Fennel sticks close by. She's the dominant lemur in the group.
She's moving well through the trees, but most importantly, she's actually following the group. And Fennel seems to be showing a fair bit of maternal behavior towards her in terms of Fennel keeps coming back, and if she starts to wander off towards the edge of the trees, Fennel's over sort of saying, no, 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 back this way. So her skills in the trees are just phenomenal, and if, you know, that's got to be really instinct and innate behavior. We just have to hope she's not too interested in people, but you know, she's just doing fantastic. She's calling for Fennel now, and I heard a call come back in the trees. You know, it's just always really nice when you see an animal come from circumstances that are so inappropriate and to be able to give them their life back again. That's what we're all about.
Back at the hospital, Jeremy has brought another stump-tailed macaque for John to examine. This time, it's Cola's turn.
Could be here for days. Look at those teeth.
Kaiyah is the oldest of all the latest stumpies, and she too needs a fair amount of dental work. She appears to have lots of broken teeth.
That was a canine remnant, lower left. So I've taken the upper left incisor number 1 out.
If John doesn't sort out Cola's teeth, as well as being in pain, she could get an infection which could spread into her sinus. As soon as one's out, another one's in, and Charlie is next on the table.
Okay, you're ready.
But when John sees her x-rays, he's concerned.
She has hips which don't fit in the sockets very well. The hip joint should be like a ball and a socket, and the ball is the top of the femur, top of the leg, and it should fit nicely in that socket, and it swings around as a result. But this is, you can see it here, this is the top of one of her femurs, top of the leg, and it's flat. It's not like a ball end at all. It's flat, and therefore it moves around a lot more than it should do. It's unstable.
As well as Charlie's hip problems, like the others, her teeth are in a bad way too. John discovers one of them is impacted. This is where a tooth is unable to break through the surface of the gum because it gets trapped behind other teeth. It can be very painful and cause abscesses and infection.
Yeah, this is one distorted little tooth. This is where you want your dental drills to carve away the bone.
Although John has plenty of experience in extracting teeth, he's not an expert in wildlife dentistry, so he's going to need to call in a specialist.
It needs more equipment, it needs a different approach. We can't do that here, we don't have the equipment or indeed probably the skills to do it. But where you've got impacted teeth, it's not a simple job to extract them.
Jeremy and vet Mike are taking Stumpy Charlie back to the hospital.
Guess so?
Yeah.
She's been put under anaesthetic again so that wildlife vet John Lewis can take another look at her. He's still concerned about her hip, but it's her teeth that really worry him.
Should we have her through for a bit of dentistry?
Yep.
Why not?
He's called in the services of London dentist Peter Cortez. As well as treating humans, Peter has a keen interest in wildlife dentistry. His patients have included lions, tigers, elephants, and giraffes.
It's the second molar that's impacted, which is exceptionally unusual.
It can be difficult to extract these teeth because they have long roots. Stumpies, like other non-human primates, eat a lot of tough fibrous food like seeds and leaves, so need robust teeth to help cut through and process it. Peter discovers an abscess on Charlie's tooth.
There was some bright yellow pus at the base. What's that?
If left untreated, the infection in an abscess can spread to other parts of the body, because the roots of teeth lead into the bloodstream. In extreme cases, it can cause septicemia and lead to organ failure.
An infected, a diseased mouth is a perfect pathway for bacteria to get into the body and cause major repercussions. Fine. Close it up.
As Charlie comes round, Jeremy heads to the Stumpy house to collect dominant female Miriam. Having lived in a lab, these monkeys are used to medical procedures, so he's able to hand inject them, which is much less stressful for the Stumpies than being darted.
We've got a high volume of work today. We're using the 2 different rooms so that we can be preparing one animal to go into the theatre while the last animal from theatre is being watched recovering. It just saving on time and allowing us to use all facilities and crack on.
While Miriam is prepared for surgery, Peter takes a look at geriatric Maureen.
How old approximately?
Her exact age is 26 years, so she's one of the older ones.
Because Maureen is an old Stumpy, her dental problems may just be due to her age, but diet could also have played a part.
So what we're going to do, unfortunately, we're going to take out 1, 2, 3, 14 in the front.
Despite having 4 rotten teeth removed, John is optimistic that Maureen will bounce back.
They're extraordinarily robust. They probably have discomfort and don't show signs. We kind of wimp out a bit. But no, she'll be eating probably later today. Be surprised.
Finally, it's Miriam's turn, but Peter soon realises she has bigger problems than the rest.
The maxillary sinus is a priority, wouldn't you say? Massive infection, isn't it?
An infection from Miriam's tooth has spread through the root into her sinus cavity.
At the bottom of the socket is a hole that leads into what's called the maxillary sinus. Unless that's repaired, you're always going to get infections in the sinus. So Peter's making a repair of the bottom of the socket. So it's a bit more complicated than just removing a tooth.
Should we do a sinus wash, John, all right? We've got some saline, we could wash the sinus out.
Yeah.
Can you see it, darling?
If left untreated, this condition could be life-threatening because it could get into her bloodstream.
The infection was extremely bad. It was extremely smelly. And another one, please. And it would have caused her a serious infection in her body. Nature has to take its course. Unfortunately, there is nothing else we can do. We can't examine her on a daily basis. And all we can do is just hope that she's going to improve. Wake up, please. All right, happy?
I mean, obviously she's had a mock spin, but you might want to put her on something broader spectrum than...
Very high dose now, can you?
Jeremy and his team will keep an eye on Miriam and watch out for signs of pain or loss of appetite over the next few weeks.
I think we're done with the stumpies now, and it'd be nice to see how they heal up. That's going to be a real bonus to see how the recovery is, especially the last one.
At the park, staff try to make sure the primates' teeth stay as strong as possible by feeding them the correct diet. Today, Sandra is providing a very sticky feed for the common marmosets.
We're at Harry's Marmosets today, and we're filling up this feeder with gum.
Not chewing gum, but the kind of gum that seeps out of the bark of trees.
What we've got is an artificial gum that we buy in, and it replicates the stuff that they would be eating in the wild.
Common marmosets come from Brazil. Along with insects, tree saps and gum form a large part of their specialised diet. Like many small primates, they're very active. But their small body size means they have a fast metabolism and so need high-energy food. The gum is perfect because it's available all year round.
They normally strip bark from the trees, and they've got really specially adapted teeth that gouge holes in the bark.
Marmosets use their incredibly long tongues to reach down into those holes and get the insects and grubs hiding under the bark.
The tongues are quite strong as well and quite muscular, so yeah, they're quite well adapted for doing that kind of thing.
There are 12 marmosets at the park, living in 4 different groups. Harry was an unwanted pet. When she arrived, the staff presumed she was a male, so were amazed when she gave birth to twins.
There's 5 in this group. It's a family group led by Harry, who's the mum, unbelievably by the name Harry. Louis, her husband, and they've got their 3 children, who are Lionel, Henry and Hazel.
Harry and Louis are great parents, and like all marmosets, everyone in the family group helps to look after the youngsters. Monkey World doesn't actively breed chimpanzees, because the team want to concentrate on providing a home for the many chimps around the world that still need rescuing. So when chimps at the park reach maturity, the females are put on birth control. But occasionally, this doesn't work, and there have been a few happy accidents. One of them is Ben. Ten-year-old Ben lives with Butch's group.
Ben's been in here for just over a year now. He's doing really well. He's definitely one of the Bachelor boys. He's a very political individual. He knows who to rub shoulders with.
But it hasn't all been plain sailing for Ben. The boisterous chimp was rejected by his mum, so was originally looked after by Jeremy and other primate care staff. He was then handed over to Sally in the chimp nursery, who looked after him until he became too big and had to move on. The team tried to move him in with Hananya's group.
When you're ready, Ruth, open the door.
Boy, Hananya.
But Hananya made it clear he didn't want any new males around. So last year, it was decided to try him with the Bachelor boys. As soon as he arrived, he was greeted by old pal Seamus, who he knew from the nursery. Seamus was delighted to see him. And Ben was relieved to find a friendly face.
It was good for Ben to have someone that he knew when he came into the group, as it was for Seamus. I think he's got a bit more brains about him than Seamus has, bless him. As lovely as Seamus is, he's not the brightest chimp in the group.
During his time in the Bachelors, Ben has blossomed.
Now he's grown in confidence, he's grown in size a lot. The testosterone's kicking in and he is getting more muscly than he was. So going from a little meek and mild individual back in Hanania's or Sally's, he's now, yeah, one of the boys, big time.
And Ben has quickly got to grips with chimp hierarchy, befriending second-in-command Jester.
Quite often see him playing with Jester or spending time chilling out with Jester, doing a bit of grooming. Jester's better to have on your side than on the opposing side. He's a big chimp and he throws his weight around a lot. And Ben knows that and tries to keep in favour with him, but that's just normal chimp behaviour. You swap your allegiances to whoever's going to back you up.
He gets on well with boss Butch too.
He's made a real good position for himself within the group, and he's quite high up in the hierarchy for a chimp of his age. He's still got a lot of growing up to do, but I think he's got ambition. He's going to carry on moving up the ranks in there. So, yeah, I think one day we might see him ruling the roost in here.
Next time on Monkey Life.
Come on, Puddin'.
Overweight Oisin takes her first steps outside at the park, but needs a helping hand from Jeremy.
Here you go. What we got here? Is that worth a little bit of a flapjack? I'm thinking possibly so.
And Stumpy Jonathan gets overexcited when he's introduced to the park's new female ugly monkeys.